the moment that will stick with me for the rest of my life. Whenever I think of Greenamp and Bettesu, I think of the countdown.
The client had asked if we'd be interested in potentially doing some work in Africa. The charity was going there and they had a village there that needed power.
We talked about it and we're like, absolutely, let's take a look at this. Like, that'd be a pretty cool experience.
We had about 2-3 weeks to get everything together. That was a whole weekend event to get everything shipped over and put in a sea can. And then 3 months later, it ended up in Liberia.
We donated all the materials, our flights to get there. Yeah, all the electrical materials as well. We donated everything.
We had sent it in October, it arrived in the village mid-February, and we showed up February 12th, so just a few days after the material arrived. John, where are we going?
We are heading now to Lofa County, Bettesu.
If we had good roads like we have in Canada, then I will tell you that to leave from Monrovia, which is the capital, to Foya and Bettesu, you could have done that maybe in 3 hours or 4 hours. But that is sometimes a 2 days journey if it is in the rainy season, and it is a 1 day journey if it is in the dry season. In 2014, we decided to build a school. Then 2022, I believe, we started building the health clinic. We were blessed with a lot of medical equipment from Emmanuel Foundation, but most of those medical equipments that we shipped to the health clinic needed power. And so we had no power. We bought a generator, but the generator was costing us so much money. Then God opened doors and windows through Greenamp, and we started having conversations with them, and the rest is history.
Bettesu is just the most wonderful place. It has the most loveliest people you'll ever meet, and to see how they live so simply, and yet they're just very happy and they show a lot of gratitude for life. Doesn't matter how little they have or how much they have, they really are just the best people, and they're so welcoming.
When we got there was a big church ceremony, and they were just so grateful, and everyone was singing to us.
It was very overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed right now thinking about it because I've never experienced just this unconditional love for people, and to feel so connected to them and just want to get to know them, and they want to get to know me. It was just something that I'll never forget. Very good. For our fundraising, aside from the solar, that came from like family and friends. I was kind of in charge of getting all of the school supplies, and so we reached out to the principal and just kind of asked, like, what are some things you need? And he gave me a small list of very basic things, and with the donations that we received, I was able to add more to that list and kind of add what I thought would be great for the kids, and toys and sports equipment and other learning stuff for them. And so kind of got it all assembled in a short amount of time, and then we shipped it off. The following days, I was going into classrooms each day, and I was doing a lot of math with them. They kind of had their own curriculum going on, so I really wanted to show them the math stuff I brought and little manipulatives and things, so that I could teach them some games to play, card games and stuff. So every day I would just go into a couple classrooms to spend a lot of time with them, and then the next day I'd go to new classes from grades from ABCs, that's kind of like their preschool, all the way to grade 6 in this village. So I got to see all the ages and stuff, so it was really cool.
Yeah, it was quite eye-opening. You hear stories that, how they live, and you don't understand it until you see it. But to show up there in Bettesu and to learn how they live, to live with them for that week as well, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
I think it just put a new perspective on how fortunate we are, because you do see how hard it is to get water for them.
Every morning there's girls and women that would bring water all the way up the hill, about 500 to 750 meters away, and on their heads uphill to fill our water container. And at home we just turn on the tap, so it's definitely different over there.
An overwhelming experience for me was the support. Like, everybody who lives in that place, they wanted to help do the work. From digging a hole to doing the wiring and all the electrical. It was pretty cool to see that they wanted to pitch in, they wanted to be a part of what we're doing.
There's a lot of hurdles along the way. We sent stuff very far, and we had to think of everything before we sent it. There's no Home Depot over there. You can't just go to the store and pick up material. So when we finally turned on the power, it was just a moment of relief, and I thought to myself, this is actually going to work. We came all this way and it's actually going to work. So that was really cool. I'll never forget that feeling.
When Alex and Tom told me that everything is done and we're going to wait until it gets dark, then we will come and turn the solar power on. It won't be the generator, it will be the solar panel. When it was completely dark, we called everybody, and everybody came around to the guest house where Tom and Alex were staying. So I said, okay, then the countdown began. We started like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And then when we got to 5, something just like, is it going to happen? Why have we got to 0 and, and no light, right? So there was a little doubt. Then we went to 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Wow.
We hit the switch and then all the power came on, and that was pretty emotional. Everybody was hugging and tears were going. Yeah, it was awesome.
The whole place was bright, lights came on, and I could see people hugging each other, women crying.
The little kids following me around chanting my name. That was pretty cool.
Even the chickens were embarrassed because the chickens were like 2 a.m. They were crowing. They thought daylight has come.
Now they have power 24/7. We installed 2 Starlinks that was donated by the charity by Better Together Liberia, and we were able to hook those up for them as well. So now they've got power 24/7 and Wi-Fi 24/7.
There's no worry now, even if there's an emergency at 2 a.m. that they bring somebody at the clinic at 2 a.m. There's no worry because there's light. You can see. That's not just the clinic, but even the school, right? It helps them to do their work, the best way that they can with electricity. Even the church. Can you imagine when we were there? It was so hot, Even if you're sitting in the church, you're sweating and your clothes are wet. But now they don't have to worry about that because you have fans and all those stuff. There's no words for me to describe the magnitude of what Greenamp has done over there.
I know we changed their lives a lot, but it also changed our lives.
If we could do anything else like this again, it'd be huge. We're very interested in doing more projects like this.
There's a lot more villages out there that could use help, and not only in Liberia, but in Africa and all over the world. So this trip was really an opportunity for us to see what kind of work we can do out there that actually makes a really big impact for people's lives, and it's definitely something that we want to do more of, and we will be doing more of. I'm just really proud of the work that we did over there.
best hits on the beat, of course. Getcha. If your love is a prison, then why don't you lock me for life? I want to remain in your cell, so forever, ever, ever, ever. If your love is a prison, then why don't you lock me for life? I want to remain in your cell, so forever, ever, ever, ever. Oh baby, come and give me kiss. The future looks bright with you, my oh, my. Just give me that one thing.